Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jewel Talk Tuesday and happy Tuesday to you. Today, I would like to talk about don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted means that there's an expectancy that someone or something will always be available to us at any given time. And that is an unwise assumption to make because nothing is promised. Life has a way of giving and taking away things in a moment, and we never know. We never know what life has in store for us. We never know what our tomorrow will be. So we have to learn to be grateful at all times and take time to stop and realize how blessed we are and stop taking it for granted. What are the things that we can take for granted? We can take God for granted, number one, the source of everything. We can take our jobs, our house, our car, our relationships, our money. We can take all these things for granted. We all have taken things for granted, and we may be still taking things for granted. I'm pretty sure if we thought about it, we would realize all the things we take for granted, how wasteful we are with things. Just being wasteful just because we are living in a time where even the minimum is in an abundance. Even when you think you don't have that much, it still is an abundance. And we're so used to it, and we think that, the world owes us something. My uncle always used to say, walking around here like the world owe you something. The world don't owe us anything. And especially as Christians, sometimes we can get to the place where we think the world owed us something because maybe we can pray a good prayer or we can quote a couple scriptures, and it don't work that way. The world don't owe you anything, so we can't take things for granted. We have to work the system that God has given us, and He has told us to be grateful. Be grateful for the things we have. Be grateful in all situations, whether good or bad. Because being grateful in a time where you may not like your job, or you want a better job, or you want a better car, you want more money, you want a better relationship with God, you know, just understanding that it could be the other way. I know I am the one to say, listen, they always say it could be worse, but I say it could be better. But you have to realize, even if it could be worse, you are in a better place. I think about the things that I've been through. A lot of us do not look like what we've been through because of grace and mercy and God Himself. I look nothing like what I've been through. Because if I begin to tell you, you'd be like, girl, what? And I'd be like, yep, that was me. Because I don't take for granted those things that God has brought me through. I share with people. Yes, I used to do drugs. Yes, I used to sell drugs. Yes, I used to be just a hot mess. I used to be a mess. I mean, just a hot mess. And I am so grateful of what God has brought me through because I'm a living testimony. When God has brought you through something or even brought you to a situation, it's for a testimony, and we cannot sit down on that. We have to be grateful for that. I wouldn't have picked those things to go through, but I made it through and I made it to the other side. I made a conscious decision that God gave me another chance, and I'm going to live right. I'm going to do right. I'm going to preserve what He has left me with. And that's the thing. You have to be grateful for that. Sometimes things come upon us and we can get sour, salty, angry, and we don't really look at the unseen thing. Even though God don't tell us about the unseen thing, you kind of picture it a little bit. If it had went any further than what it is, or if it had went longer than what it was, where would you be? So you have to be grateful. You have to be grateful and not take things for granted. We take people for granted. We take the kindness of people. If someone is going out their way just to try to bless you, to do something for you, or to say a kind word to you, do not take that for granted, because those things helps you more than you think. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you may have sown seeds of, doing good things and good deeds to other people. They may not have returned it to you, but God has a way of allowing people you may not know, or people that you may not have done anything for, to bring that around and bless you again. So you can't take your opportunities for granted. And sometimes it may be small things, but you have to be grateful for the small things, even in the rejection, even in times where you know they did you wrong. They was dirty about it. But you have to be grateful in that because there is something in that. I want us to start looking at, especially in a day and time like this where the world is in chaos and people are so unsure about things. Be sure of God and don't take him for granted. Put your hand in his hand. I am one to say, it's been a long time. I've been waiting on some things. And I'm like, okay, God, come on with it. Come on with the come on so we can get with the get with and I can go ahead with the go ahead. But I have to be grateful for where he has me at. I have to be grateful for the peace in my life. I'm going to tell you, if you have not experienced peace, it's a sweet thing. It's a sweet thing to have peace in your life. And I think about it, I say, God, sometimes I be talking to you and I tell you, I want this or that. But peace, if this going to keep me with peace, then let's have peace until it's time. So be thankful for the season. Just had an amazing pastor that preached yesterday, and he's talking about your seasons. Be grateful for your seasons because in each season, there is something to gain. In each season in your life, there is something to gain. Don't take for granted the bad times because you don't like it. No one likes to go through. If we could pick and choose our situations, trust me, half of us wouldn't even pick anything hard. And I probably would be one of those people. I'd be like, well, we're just not going to do that. Just to be honest, who wants to go through anything hard? But God knows us. He knows how we're built. He knows what we're equipped with, and he knows the help that he's going to give us. So he lets things happen. He watches over us as we go through, and it's to lean on him. If you are hard-headed like I was, and I'm still a little tough about some things, sometimes God had to put the pressure on some people. He may have to put the pressure on you just for you to see what he wants you to see. So don't take for granted the love that he shows, because God chasing those that he loves. And I tell you, he will chase you and he will show you how much he loves you. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. Family, friends, good co-workers, and things like that, because it means a lot in a world where so much hate and chaos and just envy and evilness. I have never, I'm just like, oh my God, take me back to the 80s. It is so rough out here in these days, but in the 80s, they had their things going on too, but nothing like this. So let's not take things for granted. Let's just be mindful and be thoughtful of things. I love to go down the road and look at the clouds, and I'm like, oh man, they are so beautiful. Clouds. Some people be like, so what? They're clouds. But I am grateful, and I don't take it for granted that God paints the sky blue and has clouds in the sky. I don't take for granted being able to drive down the road with these crazy deers out here just standing beside the road trying to hit my car. I don't take that for granted. I don't take it for granted to be able to go somewhere and come back home safe. Don't take that for granted. Be thankful. Learn to pause and say, okay, in this hour, what can I be thankful for? I can be thankful for life, health, and strength. But besides that, I'm being thankful or being mindful of something else besides me, besides my problems, besides a situation that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Be grateful and take the time to not take things for granted. So as you go through this week, look at some of the things that you may have taken for granted. And if you have loved ones or someone that you have missed communication with and hadn't talked to a while, reach out to them and just tell them, hey, I just want to touch bases with you. I was thinking about you, da 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 da. Do something nice for them. Don't take it for granted that they're still here, that they're still breathing. Don't give people flowers when they're dead. Give it to them when they're alive. Celebrate them when they're alive. Celebrate God while you're alive, because you can't do anything when you die. It's too late. Celebrate these times and not take it for granted. As we go further into the holiday season, don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted that you have a coat. It may not be the coat that you want because it is cold out there. I don't like the cold weather. But don't take it for granted. We have so much that we begin to take things for granted. So again, as you go through this week, just think on the things that you're grateful for and let God know. Tell him you're sorry for taking him for granted and not appreciating the things that he has done for you and in other people's lives. Even point out to people, don't take that for granted. Just let them know how blessed they are, because we truly are blessed. When you count it up, we are blessed. So have a great week and count your blessings, and do not take anything for granted, because life can change on you in a moment and you don't know which way it's going to go. You need your strength. You need to be thankful now before the storm. Don't wait to get in the storm and want to collect I thank you and I appreciate it and excuse me and all this stuff. Be that way now. Be that way now. Don't wait to stuff happen and then you want to be so thankful and polite and all this stuff. Do it now. Have a reputation to not take things for granted, from the simplest to the greatest. You have a blessed week. No, have an amazing week. Blessed too, but an amazing week. And I will see you back here on Jewel Talk Tuesday. Bye.